And welcome to the Seniorship Podcast with me, Michael McMahon. And today we're going to be talking to someone who you might have seen on this podcast before, Tony Rowlands, an old friend of mine. And he's been a guest on my podcast and, in fact, a co-host on my original podcast called Don't Get Me Started. And Tony is the ideal person for the Seniorship Podcast because he is a happily retired man and he's going to tell you all about it. And he's now in the waiting room. So I will admit him and say hello to Tony. Tony runs. I see his name. Any second, I'm going to see his face as well. And introduce him to you. And there he is. Yes, indeed. Tony, how are you?
Very well. Lovely to see you. How are you?
I am extremely well. I'm extremely well, apart from the fact that I got the time wrong and thought that I was meeting you at 10 this morning, but in
Oh,
fact it was
yes.
11, and
Yeah.
we'd agreed 11. But this is one of the things that happens when we get a bit older. The memory, which I thought I had a good memory, but it turns out I don't anymore.
No, no, nor me. I mean, this is what we're talking about, isn't it, today?
Yes, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Seniorship, how to cope with all these awful things that happen to you. When the key for me, I tell you, the key
Yes.
is don't do things to fill up time. You
Mm.
must do things because you want to do. And that's what really I've been thinking about. I'm actually going to try and move around in this,
Oh, good.
show you things that I'm interested in. First one is, of course, sailing. There's my
Yes.
my last boat there. I don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
if you can see that. Yes. Now, sailing, I've been sailing all my life.
Yes.
And I had to stop it because sailing is wonderful, but it's the other things like lying under a boat in the
Yeah.
middle of winter, painting it, and all the other things that. So eventually, and getting out of the water. I mean, when you're at our age, so I sold my boat and I bought an electric bike,
Yes.
which is absolutely, particularly if you live in a hilly city like I do, which yours is as well.
Yes.
It's made such a difference. And, you know, we're about the same age.
Hmm.
Um, the other thing that I do in this room is, I don't know if you can see that, I made that cupboard.
Did
So,
you?
yes,
Wow.
it's a shaker cupboard and I actually made it. So I'm heavily into DIY. And
I
the
know
other
you
thing
are.
you can probably see on the top of it is my grandchildren. I have four
Ah,
grandchildren. You've got
four.
one.
I've only got one.
I've got four.
Yes.
And they obviously take up a lot of my time, but
Yes.
I'm determined that I'm going to give myself some time as well. And I'm just going to show you, just interrupt if I'm boring you.
No, no, no. Carry on.
I'm going to show you a few things that I do. One of the things I do every week is I go hiking.
Yes. I remember that. I remember that.
Terribly, terribly important.
Yes.
So I do that with a friend of mine. He's very good at organizing walks. Excuse me. And so
Just
that
hang
makes
on.
me
Can
feel
I just
good. And
stop you
I
one
do a
sec?
bit of
I stop.
yoga. A bit
Tony, I'm going to
bit,
stop you for 1 second. Oh, okay. You froze there, and I was
oh,
about to switch my camera off to see if that would help. It's okay. You've come back again now, so you're moving
I've come
again.
back again. Yes,
Yes.
that's one of the things I do, and I do it every week. And last week we went because I live in Bristol, very close to us. It's the Forest of Dean, a
Yes.
huge, huge forest, and in the Forest of Dean is a reconstructed steam railway. Well, that's one of the things. Sorry about this. I'm going to have to take some water. That's one of the things I'm interested in. I know you are as well.
Yes.
Old railways.
Yes. Yes.
Mm. Sorry about that. So that was a wonderful, wonderful thing. And at the end of the going on this rail, we had a walk as well. So, you know, keeping busy
Yes.
is the watchword. I'm just going to show you a couple of things that I also do. I don't know if you can see these. Can you see that? No, you can't.
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
model boat. There it is.
Oh,
Can you see that model
I
boat?
can. I can. It's very
And
impressive.
then next to it It's a model aeroplane.
No.
No, I always say to people that I bought these for my grandchildren.
Yes, but you didn't.
It's a complete lie.
Yeah.
I bought them for myself. And this...
I missed the plane. Can I look at the plane again, Tony?
It's a scale model.
Oh,
Can you
yeah.
see that?
I can.
It's a scale model
Yes.
of a Piper Cub.
Okay.
Cost me £50. And
Yes.
My friend Peter Truss, I call him Wing Commander Truss, he flew it. He flew it the other day, and I was amazed. It flew absolutely perfectly, went up to about 200 feet, and he brought it back in. I'm not confident enough, to be honest.
And radio controlled?
It's radio. Where's it gone? You've got flowers there. Anyway, yes. You can see it?
I can see it now.
Yeah.
Yes. And so that's 50 quid, you said, radio controlled plane.
If you look it up on the internet, sometimes they can be 200 quid.
Yeah.
But I saw this one for 50 quid. I thought, I'm having that.
Yeah.
I gave my grandson one a couple of years ago, and we flew it. It went straight into a tree.
Oh.
Where it still is, as far as I know. So I bought this for him, but then I thought, I'm not letting him have that. It'll just go straight into a tree.
Yes,
so
exactly.
My friend Pete and I, we fly it. Just very close to us is the old Bristol airport.
Oh, really? Where is that, Tony?
It's a place called Whitchurch. It's literally just south of where we live.
Yes.
And it was a wartime, not an RAF base, but it was for planes carrying VIPs to to places like Gibraltar and Lisbon.
Yes.
And in fact, the film star Leslie Howard took off from there on his last flight. He was shot down by enemy action.
Oh, right.
Yes, he flew from Whitchurch Airport.
From Whitchurch.
And the half of the runway is still there. They're going to dig it up and build houses. Fair enough. It's an enormous area. And there's a hospital there and all sorts. So there's a big film studio also there.
Bottle Yard.
Bottle Yard, yeah.
Bottle Yard, yes.
So that's one or two. I'm also going to have a little walk now.
Yes. This is good.
I don't know if it'll work here. This is my garden.
Yes.
Can you see that?
I can, yes, indeed. Yes. You've frozen again, so I'm going to stop my camera because...
I'll come back. No, I can't do that.
Okay.
No, I've got... You've frozen.
No, intentionally, because but you don't need to see me. So I thought, yes, that if there's a problem with bandwidth, that if I stop my camera, which I've done, then hopefully that'll prevent you from freezing.
Oh, can you see me?
I can. Yeah.
Oh, I see. No, I was going to go into the garden because I built my grandchildren a tree house.
Did you?
But yes, I did. But you probably can't. If I go into the garden, I'll lose the connection, won't I?
You very likely will because you're too far away from the router. Really.
I won't. In that case, I won't.
And I wanted to ask you, Tony. You mentioned that you had a little cupboard in your room, which was a shaker cupboard. What makes it a shaker cupboard?
Well, the Shakers were immigrants to America. I think they were the Puritans.
Yes.
And they had a very simple kind of approach to cupboards and stuff like that. They basically just a bit of plain wood with a surround with a round knob on them. And that for some reason they are called Shakers. And I think they were a kind of... I wouldn't say cult, but a religious grouping, I suppose. So that's what they're called. So if you look up Shaker on the internet,
I've heard of it, but I wasn't really sure what made it. But so the thing that links all these, Tony, is it's things you enjoy doing.
I enjoy doing them, but also they have a meaning for me. But in terms of hobbies, obviously. But I built that treehouse, which is an extraordinary thing. And it costs, I'm now going to go into cost because I think this is terribly important. Like you, I live on I live on
Fixed
a
income.
pension,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and we've got very, very little money. Although my wife has a larger pension than me, but I bought that treehouse. It cost £280,
Yes,
and we've had it now for about 6 years.
yes.
It's carpeted. It's got
Yeah,
kitchen inside it. It's got chairs, and it's got a balcony. And you can't see it from here. I don't
yes.
think. No, no, you can't.
No,
Um,
no, 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 no,
but
no.
they absolutely love it. And they go in there and they cook meals and they have rows and like an old married couple,
No.
and if I go anywhere near it, they say, "Get out, go away. This is our house." And so that the garden itself, I really do. I like gardening,
I know you do.
so that's important for me. But the key is, I think, that you don't spend. Well, you can't spend more than you've got, otherwise you're going to be in bother. But these days, things are so expensive in terms of heating and lighting, and your now you can see me there, can't you?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Um, so I think you've got to decide how much is this going to cost me, and is it going to ruin me? I'm very, very fortunate in being married to someone who is a past master. I think I've mentioned before of getting holidays
Deals.
that are
Oh,
very.
special holidays. Yes,
Oh well, she generally finds a flight
yes,
and then builds the holiday around it. So I mean, a month ago we went to Paris
yes.
for 5 days because I absolutely love Paris.
Yeah, yeah.
She not so much, but she saw these flights and they were. If we'd gone on the Eurostar, which I would have loved, it would have cost us 4 times as much.
Yes, yes.
So we flew from Bristol in 45 minutes, got the train in, got a little apartment very close to the Eiffel Tower, and that cost us under £500 for the whole holiday.
Really?
Obviously I bought some meals and
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
paid for that. And Paris is not, if you find the right places, it's not expensive at all. But Bristol is much more expensive, I think, for
Then
eating.
Paris.
Yeah. So we did that, and now we're going to Bordeaux for our spring holiday in May, and that's going to cost about the same for a week, over a week's holiday. So you can, if you go out of season, you can
Yes,
find apartments for 300, £400 for a week.
yes,
So,
yeah.
you know,
I'm envious, Tony, because I love Bordeaux. Absolutely love it. Yes.
or you can tell me about, because I don't, I know La Rochelle, but I don't know Bordeaux. And it looks absolutely, I always get a guide.
Yes.
Fortunately, my daughter gave me a new guide to Paris for all the. Paris is that wonderful place. It's very touristique,
Of
but you
course.
can find tiny little local delis and markets and restaurants, that are not going to break the bank. I mean, obviously, one of the great advantages of being old is you can go out of season like you did.
Yes, exactly.
You did this amazing journey down to Seville on the railways, which I would love to do one day.
Yeah, yeah.
Although my wife scoffs at it, but I'm sure I'd be fine. And so yeah, that's it. And we will go on doing that till we drop. And it's that's not taking huge bites out of your health. But I
No.
would say, just to recap, try and do a bit of yoga, a bit of qigong, a bit of standing on one leg. There was a study done by a professor in Trinity College, Dublin,
Right.
a man called Shane O'Mara, and he came up with 8 reasons why walking is good for you. He said even just walking around the office, and he said
Really?
it's good for you. It tackles depression. It's good for your brain. Obviously, it's good for your gut. So
Yes.
just any kind. And he was saying instead of sitting at a desk, stand up or walk around the room, or
Mm,
I mean,
mm.
these days, people, the only thing they do is go at the office to have a fag. So I would, I would definitely, actually, we have a friend who still smokes.
Yes.
And he said, would we get him some fags while we were in Paris?
Yes,
So we did. And every packet had this appalling picture on
really.
the front of a leg being amputated or teeth.
You're kidding.
No, it was all, and I said, I don't, I really, but anyway, Bethan did buy these, and it saved him something like £150
Yes.
because a packet of fag, a friend of mine, in fact, I was talking to a friend of mine, he said, oh, he gave up cigarettes when they got to 3 shillings a packet. He,
It's
he
a while
said,
ago.
he said that was just too much. And the last time I smoked, it was costing me £5 a week. But today, this friend of ours, he pays £17 a packet
What? A packet?
for 20 fags. £17. Now that, how he affords it, I do not know. But unless he, well, how does he afford it? I don't know. And of course, it's terrible for him. And we've
Yes.
given it up.
Well, I'm glad you reminded me. I gave up smoking 40 odd years ago, maybe 50 years ago, and £17. Well,
I
Tony,
know.
do you know what?
It was about 3 shillings.
You've reminded me of something, and that is the benefits of walking. Yes, and I know you're a keen walker as well. But something somebody said to me, I took on board, and you maybe heard of these things called the blue zones, which are areas of the planet where people tend, on average, people live exceptionally long life and healthily. And
Oh, really?
yes, and there are studies as to what are the factors that influence this. And what they found actually, Tony, was that even above diet, giving up smoking, exercise, social contact was the number one. Was that if in later life you lose the opportunity for social contact, that's not a good thing. So
Really?
yeah, continuing to be sociable. And I remember you as a sociable person, and Bethan definitely is too.
Oh,
Uh,
hugely. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, much, well, yeah, I do value my friends, obviously, and I do like social occasions. She's at it all the time.
Mm.
They go and drink coffee and fall about laughing about, well, I don't know what it is. They probably laughing about me, I should think. But who knows? Who knows? Yes, I would agree with that. You've got to keep that up if you possibly can, and friendship's enormously important. I would say I was just thinking we were in a village called Cucklington, not far from Wincanton, in
Okay.
on the border of Dorset, and we sat. We're not religious people. We do go into churches because they are just monumentally
Of
beautiful
course,
building,
they
and
are.
we sat outside this church and sat on a wall, and the view was of the Blackmore Vale, which is in Dorset,
Okay.
and it was a staggering view, and
Yeah.
on a beautiful, beautiful spring day, and I sat there thinking, aren't I lucky?
Yes.
I am so lucky. I mean, there are awful, awful things going on in the world, but and we both said that. We had our sandwiches and sat there looking at this vale of the Blackmore Vale, which, funnily enough, I actually lived in the Blackmore Vale when I was a baby, when I was 2 years old.
You're kidding.
My dad was training when he came out of the army.
Yes.
Um, he he decided he couldn't work in an office anymore.
He went into farming, didn't he?
He went into farming. Well, he was trained. You had to. There was a scheme. You had to be a farm labourer. You
Okay.
know, he was an officer in the army, so it was a bit of a come down. But he loved it. You had to do that for 2 years. Then they got you a job, or they gave you money to start a smallholder. So
Yes.
that was in the Blackmore Vale, near a little town called Sturminster Newton.
Oh,
And
yes.
I can still, I mean, I'm not one of those people who's hugely nostalgic about certainly not my school days, because I thought they were ghastly. not, not completely, but I like being young, but I felt the school was an intrusion into my private affairs.
Into your private. But interesting that you say that, and yet you became a teacher, Tony. After your career as an actor, you became a teacher.
I did. Well, I did. I got a degree. I realized I needed a degree to get a proper job because we were starting a family then.
Yep.
And my wife, I never really thought of teaching. I thought it must be pretty grim. And she said, yes, but look at the holidays. You can look after the kids. And and a mate of mine said, now, come on, get on with it. So I did it and found that I absolutely loved it. But it was, I was a drama teacher. It's not
No.
like teaching English or maths, which can be pretty hard work. They they just loved it, and I really loved it. And eventually, I just taught A level, which was very challenging to me and to them, and A level media. So I'm one of those rare people who thoroughly enjoyed teaching. But no, I have to say, I went to a grammar school, and I just thought it was awful. People bashing you over the head or coming up behind you and hitting you with a book. So I wasn't. Although I had, I was in a bugle band. That was the one thing I
Oh,
really
right.
loved. Yes. In fact, I got a photograph of it somewhere. We had in those days. You had. I'm sure you. I don't know if you did in your school. We had a cadet force.
CCF, so called. My
CCF.
school didn't have it, but yeah, I know a lot of schools did.
We did. The idea was that there was still conscription, national service then, and that we would then go on to be sort of the officer class, I suppose. Although
Yes.
most of the kids at my school were, lower middle class and working class, just bright kids. So every Friday we got dressed up as soldiers and learned how to kill people, which I thought was marvelous because I kept thinking I could use this on those bloody teachers. And we were given these proper rifles,
Yes.
extraordinary now. You just wouldn't be able to do it now, I don't think. And you had blank ammunition, and we used to blam away at one another, and no one ever got hurt. But we also had this corps of drums, it was called. We had like a guard's uniform,
Oh,
and
yes.
we would every Saturday we would go to fetes and
Ah,
march up and
perform.
down playing these bugles, and we kept winning prizes. So there was a thing called the Hornchurch Drum and Trumpet Competition, and
Yeah.
I've got medals for Sergeant A.J. Rowlands for bugling, which
Well, well.
I'm in fact I wonder if I can show you this picture. It,
Did you keep it up, by the way, after school?
no, my brother did. He learned the trumpet, and my brother he ended up playing in a jazz band.
Oh, right.
And he did learn that through playing the bugle, and he was a very good jazz musician. My brother, although he went on, he was a university, a college lecturer, and he kind of gave it up. He's still in. He likes listening to jazz. We used to go and see him. He was rather glamorous. My brother. He had a I can't remember what it was called, a something suit that everyone thought was very
A
glamorous.
zoot suit or something. I
No, it
don't know.
wasn't a suit.
No, no,
Cavalry
no.
twill. It was
Oh, Cabaret
cavalry
Twill. Oh, God,
twill.
yes, I do remember that.
And he was, he had the full suit, and there he was playing, and he always had these very beautiful girlfriends,
Yes.
and they would come. I remember one of them came to the house and painted a mural on his bedroom wall. And I thought,
Wow.
how does he do it? Because I gave up Airfix kits,
Yes.
and when I started thinking about girls, and
Yes.
I was hopelessly unsuccessful when it, I thought, I don't know how you do this. How do you get girls to go out with you? I think they thought you'd better stick to the Airfix kits made.
So
Eventually,
your brother, tell me about your brother. Was he older or younger?
he was older,
Yeah.
and unfortunately he is very old now, and he got cancer, and
Uh,
it absolutely floored him, poor soul. And he's still around, but it's left him feeling rather sorry for himself. Well, I sure I've just been like you, pretty lucky when it comes to
health.
well, yeah, touch wood. I mean, probably going to fall apart tomorrow. But
Yeah, yeah.
no, he's. I don't know. I always think, my wife said to me the other day, she said, "You're always bloody happy." And I said, "Well, I've got a lot to be happy about. I've had
Well said.
I had a fantastic career as an actor. Then I really enjoyed being a teacher.
I know you
And by
did.
God, I love being a dad, like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have. And now
And you love being a granddad.
I love. Yesterday we were on Western Supermare Beach
Yes.
with one because the two of them were in Greece on holiday. They came back
Right.
last night, but we were on the beach and I was flying my kite and building a sandcastle, and I just thought, and she said that, almost accusatory. How
Yes.
dare you
How
be
dare you be
so
happy
happy?
all the time?
And I thought, well, I honestly believe it's a physical thing. If you
Yes.
feel, sometimes you wake up, it's bloody difficult to get out of bed. You feel so stiff in the morning, but
Yes.
gradually, and what I do, I always cycle just only round the corner to
Yes.
get my paper in the
Yes.
corner shop.
Yes.
And then he says, would you take, there's a bloke called Fred who lives around the corner, and I take him his fags.
Yeah.
So I'm the delivery boy for he's the same age as me.
I
But
tell
he's
you what, Tony. You were talking a few minutes ago about the Vale of Blackmore and
oh yes, the
how
Blackmore
and
Vale.
Blackmore Vale and how much you appreciated that spot, that view, and all the rest of it. And you've reminded me. Oh, what's that?
No, I was showing you a photograph. Can you see that?
Yes, yes,
That's a photograph. I'm on the right
yes.
in my uniform,
Okay.
uh, the red uniform, like the guard's uniform, and we're sitting with a judge, the Lord Lieutenant.
Yes.
I'm not sure who the two behind are, and then that's my friend Derek. And
On the left.
when the assizes came to our town, Chelmsford, we would play a fanfare in the
Okay.
street, and the judge and the Lord Lieutenant would walk through the streets to the
Yes.
assize court. I don't
Yes.
think they do it now, but we would either play the Grand March from Aida
Yes.
or the Trumpet Voluntary.
Ah.
And the judges always thought this was wonderful, and they would give us a little smile. And we were given lunch. It was a day off school. We were given lunch, and then we sat in the court. And then I think at the end we played it again. Derek was a superb musician
Yes.
and much, much better than me, but I could keep up. So together it made a really lovely sound. And we would march through the streets in our uniform. I think today it might be quite difficult to do. No one ever bothered us, and
No.
then they would give us lunch in the best hotel in Chelmsford.
In
So that
Chelsea.
was quite so that was worth it. Now I gave it up in in the upper sixth. I decided I want some money to socialize.
Yes.
So I took a job in a shoe shop called Easy Fits.
I
They
remember
were
them well.
terrible, terrible. And I was given £1 for the day's work.
Mm.
And 10 shillings, I'd take 10 shillings out and save 10 shillings because I was saving up for a European holiday. And that was enough. And
Yes.
I went to see the animals at the Corn Exchange for 3 and 6pence.
The animals. Oh God, yeah. You said
Yeah,
the. All
I
right then.
saw the animals.
Eric
And
Burden,
oh, yes. I mean,
Alan Price.
if you, they were there. Zoot Money and the Big Roll, all of them, the Hollies, they all came to Chelmsford Corn Exchange because I think it was very close to London. It's only about
Yes.
25 minutes on the train
Really.
to Liverpool
Chelmsford.
Street. Yeah,
Okay.
and very close. It's now Chelmsford is a sort of dormitory town
Yes.
for London,
Yes.
possibly because it's cheaper. We lived in a village outside, we had the farm there, and a beautiful little village called Rittle. And
Hey, let me throw something at you, Tony. You were
I've been
talking.
going on too much.
No, 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 no. You were because Because Bethan said to you, "Oh, how come you're always happy?" Well, you were telling me about Vale of Blackmore Vale, and
Oh
how
yes,
much you appreciated it. And by the way, we've got 10 minutes left, but that's fine. But it's. I think there's something about appreciating what you've got. Now, for example, you reminded me, I've just started rereading a Bill Bryson book, and it's called The Road to Little Dribbling, which is, do you remember his famous book, Notes from a Small Island? Well,
yes, which
the
I have
road,
read.
yes, and
I've read that.
the Road to Little Dribbling is kind of a follow-up. And he, despite the fact that his second visit to the UK starts really badly with a terrible bus journey along the south coast, grotty sort of areas, and not following the sea at all. It says, nonetheless, he then one day later is on near Beachy Head, the Seven Sisters, as they're called,
Oh yes,
and
yes.
he enthuses big time about the beauty of Britain and how wonderful it is that despite what we complain about, litter and urbanization and all the rest of it, it's still a beautiful country. And
Oh, it's
I think half the battle is you appreciate things like the beauty of the Vale of Blackmore, things like music, things like theatre, all that. I think
uh,
appreciating
I,
what you've got is important, isn't it?
I absolutely. But I think landscape. It ought to. It has a physical um, effect on me and all my friends. But I know there are people who just look at it and think, well, where we were in this beautiful playground in Weston-super-Mare Kids Playground,
Oh
and
yeah.
there were people literally leaving. They got up, having their lunch, and they left a mound of litter.
Ah,
And the woman in charge was saying, "Yeah, I have to go around every day." And I think litter is it's sort of
to,
saying we don't care about where we live, and
no,
I think that's very, very important. And I think most people, maybe when we were at school, we weren't particularly interested in going on nature walks and stuff like that. But sitting there overlooking the Blackmore, and it could be anywhere, walking through a wood in spring, particularly,
yes,
my good, it's so uplifting. It's like I imagine, people go to church and sing a hymn and feel, although listening to a male voice choir
oh
in Wales, like you used to sing with,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
singing Calon Lan,
Mm,
I think it's just the most magical thing. Words absolutely have the same um, feeling, you can't but listen to Dylan Thomas
mm,
on the Milk Wood and be uplifted. In fact, there's a guy called Giles Brandreth,
I remember.
who quite a nice guy, used to be a Tory MP, and he basically makes a living being on chat shows, and stuff.
Yes.
And he was saying when he was a child, he wanted to be a poet,
Oh yeah.
and he wrote this poem. And he was also an altar boy, and they had a sort of after church do. And someone said, "Oh, why don't you recite your poem?" So he did. He recited
Yeah.
it, and everyone gave a very polite clap. And then this rather tall man came over to him and said, "Well done, young man. That was a very nice poem, and I hope you write some more." And it was T.S. Eliot.
No, really.
Yes, he was someone who went to that church. It's probably quite a
Yes.
posh church in London somewhere, because Giles Bandrith came from quite a posh background. But I thought that was a rather wonderful story. That, although I think, you know, um, people who are published poets,
Yes.
sometimes people who aren't published are just as good. I
Yeah, yeah.
think I would encourage. I mean, my grandkids all are encouraged to write by their parents, just to write a poem or a little. My daughter used to write novels as a
Did she?
child.
Did
Well,
she?
they were always about Victorian servants who suddenly
Yeah.
discovered that they were wealthy. It
Ah.
was obviously something that
Yeah,
she's
but
got.
Tony, you reminded me. Didn't I introduce you once to a friend of mine called Mark Sayers, who himself is a poet and who used to run a poetry evening, and you came along with me, I remember, and you read your poem about you and your not to be but future wife in an altercation in an Italian restaurant, and you read
Yeah,
it there. And I remember very clearly that the woman in this scene throws some wine over the bloke or something like
that's right.
that, and you finished it, and everybody went, oh, and you said yes, and I've been married to her for 35 years.
I have. I've now been married to her for 46 years or
Yes.
47 years, something like that.
Okay.
Yes, no, that actually happened, and it was a wonderful restaurant in Soho we used to go to regularly. Well, when I had some money, called the Rugantino in Romilly Street, and
Romilly Street, I remember that. Yes, yes. But
it's next door
hang on a
to.
minute, Tony. You said the benefits of writing poetry. You published a book of poems, didn't you?
Oh, I
The
did.
night
Yeah,
before Ofsted came.
the night before Ofsted came is a wonderful piece of work, and I highly recommend it. They can also, if people are interested, listen to my other podcast.
Oh yes, called.
Today's lesson is history. You can find it on Spotify.
That's on
But
Spotify.
that's
Good.
it's a very serious podcast, not much fun, about how
Education.
education might be made better. But no, I always think of that, the Rugantino, because it was I would go there if I had money. Sometimes when you're acting, you've got loads of money, and then
Yes. Other times you
other
got
times
none.
you've got none at all. And so I would go there, and it was in the days when you had a checkbook,
Oh, I
and
remember.
you would write a check, and this card was coming in, a check card, so you'd show the check card with it. But I didn't have one of those. And so I would just write a check. And I said to the waiter one night, I said, I'm writing this, I haven't got a check card, but you always accept my checks. And he said, but signori, they never bounce.
Oh, good.
And I said, well, I wouldn't come here. If I didn't have the money, I wouldn't come,
Good.
which is true, because it was really Soho at its best. It was a fabulous, fabulous little family restaurant.
And did you say it doesn't exist anymore?
No, it's not there, and Kettner's is
Sadly.
still there, which is a very, very
Oh,
posh,
Kettner's is very smart.
very smart restaurant. Couldn't afford to go in there now. Although you can find restaurants in. I don't know if you remember, there was a restaurant called Jimmy's.
Oh, I know of it. I've
Downstairs.
never been there though.
It was
No,
it was a pound. You had to pay a pound for a
to
meal.
go in. Oh,
No,
hey,
not
listen,
to go in. The meal was
that was a meal.
about a whole Greek meal for £1.
Tony,
then,
I'm going to have to stop you there because we're
is
running
that
out
the
of
end?
time. It's
Oh,
almost the time. Yes, when we get to remaining meeting time less than a minute, we know that Zoom will cut us off. So I'm going to have to say, Tony, thank you ever so much for coming on the podcast again today, and we'll do it again before too long. And
yes,
it's been great talking to you as always.
probably after Bordeaux this time, or
After
maybe
I look forward to hearing all about
all
Bordeaux.
about Bordeaux.
I'm
Well,
very envious.
well, you must tell me about your experiences there.
I
'Cause
will.
I'd be
I will.
very
I
keen.
will.
Righto,
Yes.
take care.
Right. Thanks, Tony. All the best. Bye now.